Little roller back to the mound. There's McGrane. He'll race to first base. He'll do it by himself. And the Monarchs have won it. Rain Reborn reigns again. The 2021 American Association champions. And you can notch this one. Final score, Kansas City 8 and Fargo-Moorhead 1.
Well, that's the man who made that final play. And if I can get the screen to come off there here, I will, sorry about that, folks. Jameson McGrane, can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you good, man.
How you doing, mate? Good to see you.
I'm good. Good to see you.
Yeah, it's been a while. You ready for the season? Are you ready to go? Are you ready for baseball time in Kansas City?
Oh yeah, I'm getting antsy.
Getting antsy, yeah, we all are. Tell me, first off, what have you been doing in the off season? What's been going on with you?
Training like usual. I've been working a good amount too, but I kind of took a month off after the season ended. I threw the most innings of my career this year, and it was kind of nice to get some time to just like relax for the first time in a long time. So it's been good. I recently moved in with my girlfriend, things like that. So it's kind of been a bunch of changes.
So she got you like cleaning and stuff like that?
Yeah. When I'm not working, I'm doing housework.
Hey, it's a good workout. I mean, my wife's a major clean freak, and so she speeds around the house, and she's in better shape than me. So maybe just saying. That final out last year.
Yeah.
Take me back to that night because it was a blowout. I mean, the game was pretty much in hand.
Yeah.
But walk me through what you're thinking. You know that you're on the cusp of doing something special. What's going through your mind right there in that situation?
You mean like just the last out?
Yeah, that last out.
Okay, so the guy who I was facing, John Silviano, was my teammate the year prior in 2020 when I played in that shortened season with St. Paul. And I know he crushes balls, and he had an incredible year this year. And so Almi and me are pretty good, together. He usually ends up calling exactly what I'm thinking. And so we went like first pitch, like fastball up, and he absolutely creamsicled it like backside foul. And I was like, well, I'm not throwing that again. And, Sylvie knows me pretty well. And so I think everyone just assumed I was going to throw another fastball. And so I threw a splitter instead, and he hit that like weak, kind of bouncing like divot ground ball right back to me. And I didn't know I actually caught it. So like I've been getting, friends of mine giving me flack for taking it all the way. But I jumped, and when I caught it, I like had a momentary lapse of like understanding the ball was actually in my glove. And like you said, like, we were up by a bunch of runs, but it's like I still wanted to treat it like it was a one-run game. You never know how things can go, especially with Fargo's offense. They were incredible. But I started running to first, and the only thing that came to my head, I'm from Boston originally. I grew up a Red Sox fan, was watching Keith Folk throw that underhanded throw to first base to win the World Series. But I remember watching an interview about him after, and he was like panicking on the way, and I was like, I don't know if I can make this throw. So I think I'm just going to run it. And Casey was at first, and I think he saw that I was just like already full momentum. And so he just kind of like sidestepped the bag, and I ran right through it.
Well,
but it was
sprinted.
Awesome.
You sprinted. People say pitchers are, they don't do a lot of working out and all that. I know that's, but you're not athletes. But I mean, you were flying. You looked much like an NFL tight end there, going right down the seam, a seam route there.
Yeah. I was running quick, that's for sure.
You were. You had a real interesting year last year, and you start, close.
Yeah.
You flourished in both roles. How did you do that? I mean, because some guys just can't do it. They're like, well, I'm a starter, I'm a closer, a reliever, you did both. Water off a duck's back.
Yeah. So I started all throughout college, and then my first 2 years of pro ball, I started as well. And it wasn't until 2018 when I was playing in the Frontier League under Dennis Pelfrey that, he made me a reliever, and I kind of figured it out. I was like, wow, this is way better. Like, I'm significantly better at this. But, with this, so I have an understanding of what I need to do in that role. It's just like, obviously the preparation is like significantly different. And like, I think obviously Skip, Joe, was like, hey, look, like we're losing guys left and right to affiliated. And like, obviously I'm trying to do the same. Everybody else on this team's trying to do the same. And, I saw it as like an opportunity for me to show that I can be as versatile as anybody. And so, Joe gave me the opportunity to start, and I ran with it, and I liked it. I think I did notice that, like, it's taxing, man. It's brutally taxing, especially I hadn't done it in 4 years. And so, like, 4 innings seemed like an eternity to me, and then as my starts, started to climb in length, it was like, good God, man, I'm not built for this anymore. Like, but it's weird. Like when I stopped starting, I think my first outing after I was no longer starting, I came in after Kivas. We had just picked up Kivas, and I threw like 4 innings in relief, and that felt totally fine. Only because like I hadn't started the game. There's such a different, preparation for that. And, I'm so used to coming in like a high octane situation, like where my adrenaline's pumping. It's like a close game. And there's usually like, I seem to always end up facing like the 3, 4, 5 guys. But, you can't approach starting the same way. You're going to gas yourself out. And so, it was cool to kind of relearn that this late in my career, to kind of get a shot to show that I can do both things really well. So,
and I was going through your day by days, and a lot of times when a guy makes that transition, there's a lot of major bumps. But it's almost as if I had to go back and make sure I was looking at the same season, because a lot of times you'll see guys ebbs and flows, but your ebbs and flows were pretty consistent. That was pretty impressive last year, how you were able to just kind of just slide in there.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, and you mentioned Joe Capietra. He is a sweetheart, but he also looks like a real mean guy down there. Give me your Joe Capietra relationship. Is he the real focused guy down there that a lot of folks see, or is he that sweetheart that I see and that you see?
No, Joe's the man. I mean, obviously you have two faces during a game, and I think like you'll notice a lot of the better players, and this is here, anywhere, big leagues, coaches, same thing. Like, there's the way they are with their players, and there's the way that the public sees them. And, Joe does look like a hardo when he's in the dugout. I'll tell you that. He is laser focused on the game, but he's a great man. He's a good manager. Like, he's always easy to talk to. He's always willing to listen. So he really is a sweetheart, and he does give off that kind of hitman for the mob kind of look, which the team usually jokes about. But no, he's a great guy. He is a sweetheart, But he's got to keep focused just so he can keep the game running.
The show is Reborn with the Kansas City Monarchs. I'm Dan Vaughan, voice of the Monarchs. Jameson McGrane, the man who really did it all on the mound last year, starting, relieving, and had just one heck of a stretch. Jan says, I want to be like you one day, man. Jan Hernandez chiming in. You mean like me? Would be like Jameson or me? Which one? Who's he talking about? No, you, of course. Or you, of course.
Yeah. What's up, kid?
Yeah, he's a good one, isn't he? He's a good one. That's the thing I love about you guys, and I watch it as, let me bring this back down again. I watch you guys build these relationships, but it matters. That clubhouse relationship, that culture. Sure. I talk about a lot.
Yeah.
Culture matters. For you show me a team that doesn't have good culture, they ain't winning.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, you look at a lot of the big league clubs that have success year in and year out, and you see some, pretty consistent faces in the clubhouse. Guys who end up, stepping up to leadership roles when they're needed and things like that. And I think that's a thing that Joe kind of, does exceptionally well. It's just getting a bunch of guys who are like good dudes. You know what I mean? I mean, there's always going to be players that are not great in the clubhouse, but are incredible on the field. And like, yes, that works, but it's only to a point. And it's a little different when you're on the field with a bunch of brothers than a bunch of teammates. You know what I mean? And so,
right, sure.
I feel like I've been very lucky in my career to have good guys around me. And I think specifically this past year was just an incredible team from top to bottom. We had guys always looking out for each other, guys like helping each other out when they're running through bad times, like, you know, rough stints on the field, like whatever it is, guys are always there for each other. And then I think that's why it just, in those crazy, intense, you know, stressful situations, it didn't seem that hard because everybody was like chilling, you know?
Right. Yeah.
So
it was very chill. It was very, very chill. I'll ask the simple one. Why KC? Why are you back? What about Kansas City and the Monarchs has you so juiced up, ready to go?
You know, I kind of, after my 2019 season in the Atlantic League, I was just looking for a place that I knew could get me a really good shot at getting signed. And, you know, I'd heard a lot of good things about Joe. I had never even been in the American Association. You know, I wasn't really initially thinking about leaving the Atlantic League. I have a buddy, actually, Danny Morris, who played with the T-Bones. Yeah. We grew up together. And he had told me, like, Joe gets guys picked up, you know, blah, blah, blah. Like, you should come out here. And so I called Joe, and he was like, yeah, we want you. Like, come through. And I was like, all right. And then, you know, obviously this year we had, 26 guys get scooped?
Yeah.
So, you know, it's that. And like you said, the culture here is good. You know, it's a fun place to be. Like, I mean, there's just a lot of good things about it. You know, obviously, I'd love to go there and get that ring ceremony done, too.
Sure.
And I think a lot of the guys, you know, we talked about it right at the end of literally after we won the game, I think. And, you know, obviously we're all like, well, we hope none of us see each other next year because everybody goes to affiliated or, you know, goes overseas, whatever it is. But if you do, like, trying to get ring number 2. So
Right. Yeah, exactly. Jameson McGrane, the voice there. Dan Vaughan with you on Rain Reborn with the Kansas City Monarchs. You mentioned guys getting picked up, and a lot of pitchers especially. You see this going on, and you're not the only one. There were several others like great years that did get picked up.
Yeah.
Is it frustrating? Do you say, hey, maybe me next time? How do you handle that mental side of it? Because you want to go.
Yeah.
You want to be picked up, but you also want to win and be a teammate. How do you balance that disappointment to expectation?
I wouldn't call it disappointment. You know, there is a frustration level, obviously, but you kind of just have to hope that your game speaks for itself. And like, obviously, you know, a lot of the times it's luck, man. I mean, it's the same with, you know, a lot of the guys that I've played with who have been in the big leagues. Like, sometimes it's just luck. It doesn't even have to do with skill set or whatever it is or what your position is. Like, there's a need and you're the guy. Like,
right.
And so I think it just kind of always gives you extra, you know, motivation to try and get better or do things differently. And, you know, obviously as athletes, like, guys are constantly learning from the mistakes they've made. So I think, you know, obviously, like, I want to get picked up. And, like, last year I was like, man, I hope I get picked up. But, like, you know, if it doesn't happen, you get another year and you get another year and you get, you know.
And I think that's part of that we miss a little bit. The ultimate goal for you guys is to get to chase those major league dreams.
Yes.
But in the meantime, if you're competitive, having fun, I had guys tell me this. I mean, I remember Justin Donatello saying, man, this is the most fun he'd ever had. And guys are having fun chasing those major league dreams, or maybe before they were sort of in a spot where more looking behind their shoulder or looking in front of them.
Yeah.
I guess my question is, it's a nice fallback position to be in. You don't get that affiliate call, but you get a chance to play meaningful and winning baseball.
Yeah, that's very true. You know, I like what you said about, you know, kind of looking over your shoulder. I think that's a very large misconception with how, you know, independent baseball is viewed as a whole. You know, people kind of see it as it's lesser than the minor leagues. And, like, I mean, I made it to high A, and I'll tell you right now that the leagues I played in the Atlantic and the American blow that kind of baseball out of the water.
Right.
So,
right.
And, you know, you can talk to any of the guys who've been in AAA big leagues. I'll tell you right now, they're not going to tell you this is, you know, easy, no talent baseball. Like, there are guys out here throw 100, you know what I mean, with no problem. There are guys here hitting 20 home runs a year. You know, we got Gabby Guerrero throwing 96 miles an hour from a sub slot just because he feels like it, and then he can also drop 18 home runs and hit 330. So it's like,
he can hit target if he needs to, like a parking lot, right?
And so, but, you know, that is a thing with, you know, affiliated baseball. It is kind of it is cutthroat, just like independent ball is. But, you know, it does seem sometimes that guys aren't really looking out for each other like they do in independent ball, because obviously everybody's goal here is to get back. Right. Everybody's goal in the end is to make it to the big leagues, obviously.
Yep.
But, the thing is like when you are competing with a guy on the same team as you, you're all competing for the singular spot. Whereas here, like, we're competing to win, and in a secondary nature, we could be playing so well that we get picked up.
Right.
So everybody kind of does, have to root for each other. And if you don't, like you said, the culture's bad, and you go to a team that's probably not going to get you a lot of victories. So
that's a long season too when that happens as well. When those things happen. Just a few more things with Jameson McGrane here on Rain Reborn. Mike Henneman. I throw that name out there because Mike mentioned you, and you smile there.
Yeah,
the smile comes up whenever Henneman's name. And Mike and I he's on the show again next week. We got him from the pin we've been doing. He mentioned you, J-Mo. He was talking about J-Mo. Mike Henneman as the pitching coach for the Monarchs.
Oh yeah,
he's a personality, and I guess what I'm thinking the question is, how big is that type of personality? That kind of whatever you want to call it, but former big leaguer, what me care, whatever you want to call it. How big is that personality for you and for the staff?
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, like you said, he's a long-term big league guy, like, and that's already something to learn from. But he's got experience coaching as well, and like, he's always willing to. I mean, he'll take you off your high horse real quick, but he's always willing to help you out whenever you need help, and like. Obviously, if you're going to learn from somebody, you learn from somebody who's, been in Billy's 10 plus years. So it's like, and like you said, personality is an understatement. But that's what you need. You need a guy who's kind of, who can be loud and in your face sometimes. At least that I think, it's the quiet ones that always seem to not be as helpful. I guess that would be the way to put it.
Sure.
But, he's great with us, and he knows that, that's the other difference I forgot to mention too is like, minor league to kind of hold your hand for a while. Independent, you're expected to already know how to act like a professional.
Right.
And so Henny does a great job of letting us just take care of ourselves because we're men. So, but obviously once you don't act like a man, he's there to correct you.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it.
But that's great. That's what we need. And I think he's a good lively presence. When things go awry for us. So.
I don't know if you know this. Some of the listeners on the broadcast will know, but that was a big deal to me when he signed because when in 96, he was finishing his career up with the Rangers, and the Rangers Texas had never made the postseason. And I remember listening to the Rangers broadcast of Mark Holtz, the radio guy in Seattle, when Henneman got the save in a series up there to clinch the division, the American League West. The Rangers had never done anything. Yeah. And so to me, being that first playoff team, I always remember they acquired him, and I was like, and then I fast forward my life some 5 years later. And now he's in my phone. It's like, I can't make this stuff up. I get to text Mike Henneman, and to me, the little kid in me or the young man in me, he's coming out, and I throw that out there just fun. I want to ask you a couple more things here. One fun one in the end, but I want to talk about the host families.
Yeah,
I know that means something to you. That relationship with your host family. Tell us about that.
The Santalaris are incredible. I got the privilege to be with their son Matthew, who has Down syndrome, and he taught me a lot. You know what I mean? And you come in there, and I don't want to say apprehensive because that sounds negative, but you come in and you're like, man, I got a season to juggle. Like I also don't want things to interrupt the way I kind of go about my business, and I've never really had a lot of experience. With people with mental disabilities. So I thought it was another, great learning experience for me. And like I said, they were just super helpful, super genuine. They were always there whenever I needed things. And then Matt, I got a number one fan almost immediately. That guy was at every single game, cheering his butt off.
Amen.
Yeah, incredible guy to be around. Came in the dugout a bunch of times, came in the clubhouse. He loves the Monarchs. And so that's probably where I'm going to go back again this year. But it's a really cool experience when people kind of take you in your home, and welcome you like you're a member of the family. The thing I think people forget is I'm a complete stranger.
Yeah,
I'm the grown man that they're like, come and stay with us.
Right,
we'll make you food and you can live in our home for free.
Right,
so we can come and watch baseball games. That's insane to me, but these people are incredible people for doing it. And so I think, it's such a helpful thing for all the guys here too, obviously we don't want to be juggling paying for an apartment as well.
Sure.
So I love the host family thing, and I think the Santalaris killed it. It was their first year doing it too. So, I'm definitely pumped to go hang out with Matt again, beat him in basketball because he's always trying to cheat. So
we did a thing, and I want to try to get too emotional here.
Yeah.
He did a really cool thing about a month ago when he came out in his full Monarchs gear.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah, Kara sent me a video.
And Jameson and I was gonna, but if we were all as enthusiastic about the world and life, if we all had that kind of love,
way better.
We wouldn't have this mess of a world we live in. It makes me
it
puts chills at my spine. He's such an example, and I spoke about that. Oh man, excuse me, that day.
Yeah.
It really meant a lot to me, and I know he meant a lot to you. And that's a great family, and I think you're great to interact with him. By the way, my mom says she wants to adopt you, so good luck.
Okay.
Good luck. You'll be at all the casinos around Chicago with plenty of wine, so avoid her. You'll be broke. No. Yeah. Final thing as we round third here, Jameson McGrane with us on Reborn. Dan Vaughan with you. All right, you've had a lot of roommates, and I don't want you to name them on the road, but you guys spend a lot of time.
Oh, yeah.
Have you had any quirky roommate stories or quirky roommate, or you want to name one? You want to name me one? That's fine too. But we're one of those guys that who are named nameless that had a habit or something that you're like, boy, I hope I don't have to room with him again. Or maybe it was something you thought was funny.
I mean, everybody's quirky, man. I don't think there's a professional baseball player I've met who's just like cool all the way through. Like everybody's a weirdo. So I will say I've never really had like anything that's like so out of the blue, because like I feel like everything's like normal to me now. What would be absurd to another person is like every day. I will say though, Nick Travieso was my roommate for a majority of our away trips last year, and that man snores like a passing bus. I probably had to wake him up like 40 plus times on the road because he would be snoring so damn loud at like 3 a.m. I'd be like, dude, can I get like 1 minute of sleep with you? So, but like, I think, like you said, this is a high stress environment. We're playing a lot of games and it's a long season, and you kind of come to recognize that like you're gonna miss those situations. Those things are kind of, times like that are kind of things you want to remember and have fun with, because like, you might not get to see that guy. Like Travis signed with York in the Atlantic League, so we still talk a lot, but things like that. It's fun to, like, it is cool to have different roommates and kind of, it's a good way to kind of get acquainted with the team early on too. The bad part is like if I had been roomed with Travi early on, I probably would have hated him because he never would let me sleep. But other than that, yeah, I've bounced around. I had him. I had Carson LaRue for a little bit. I'm trying to think of who else. Some guys don't even move from the bed. That's the other thing. You're just so tired all the time. You're just like, all right, woke up at 10. I won't move. They'll like be in the bed, DoorDash to the front door, and then you go to the field.
That's it. Yeah,
that's your day. Like, and that's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Well, it could have been worse. You could have been me as my first broadcasting year out of college in the South Atlantic, and I had the 73-year-old bus driver who was a chimney as well. He'd go in the bathroom and crack the window and crack the door in the little Motel 6 in Asheville, and he's just marbling it up there, and I'm laying there in the bed, and that smoke's just come bellowing out like, and I'm laying there in bed going, I mean, this is back in the 90s when you could smoke at hotel rooms, but I probably got secondhand smoke from that. I'm sure I did, but that was my first year, and that was my. Everywhere I went, I smelled like smoke. I was like about clubbing every night I went up the ballpark. Anyway, Jameson, I appreciate you, and I appreciate you stopping by today. We're looking forward to seeing you in a few weeks. And you're a light, man. We love it.
Appreciate that, man. Thanks for having me.
You bet. That's Jameson McGrane right there.